Hey guys, welcome to another one of my shitty videos, and the topic of this one's going to be a little bit different from what I usually do. And I just want to say that I don't really want my channel to become a very political one, but ultimately I do feel like it's an issue that really needs to be addressed. Now, socialism and communism, alright? Now, before I get into it, let's look up the definitions of those two terms, because I want everybody to know what I'm talking about in specific, alright? Socialism. Google defines socialism as a political and economic theory of social organization which advocates that the means of production, distribution, and exchange should be owned and regulated by the community as a whole. Alright? That's socialism. Google defines communism as a political theory derived from Karl Marx advocating class war and leading to a society in which all property is publicly owned and each person works and is paid according to their abilities and needs. Alright? So, in reality, both socialism and communism are practically the same thing. Effectively, they are the same thing. But in the end, the theory is that the community will own everything. But the issue with that is that that's chaotic and doesn't work. Anarcho-communism is actually what communism was originally thought up to be. Originally. Uh, Ironic, isn't it? But in the end, when you have a socialist or communist country, economy and all that, you would never really have it to where the government controls everything, because that's the only logical way to have it where it's even remotely not chaos and is somewhat working. It doesn't work because, as you see, with every socialist and communist country, they just collapse. They just don't work. I mean, just look at fucking Venezuela. Now, your question might be, well, why are you talking about socialism and communism? Well, it's the Red Scare. It's a reality now. It's no longer just right wingers being right wingers. It's literally a legitimate reality. Now, before you go, oh, you dumb little Trumpy. No, I'm not a Trump supporter. I never supported Trump. I don't like the Republican Party, and I do not like the Democratic Party. I support the Libertarian Party, but even then, they all work for the same people. But the reason why I'm talking about socialism and communism is because it's genuinely starting to affect America. Now, I'm going to give a little history on me. And I don't plan on giving too much information about myself, but now, growing up as a child, I did not have a father, and that made it very difficult for my mother to raise my siblings and I. Now, we weren't very poor. She just made terrible, terrible financial decisions, mainly for certain friends, and that led to us having to live off the government. We're talking food stamps, welfare, anything we could get our hands on, church handouts, Goodwill clothing. It was just fucking terrible. We lived in terrible houses. We lived off Goodwill clothing, fucking government cheese, whatever you could fucking think of. All right. And I thought to myself as a child, when I grow up, I'm never going to be this. I'm never going to live off the government again. And I'll tell you something. That's socialism. And I don't care who you are, what fucking gender studies degree you have, welfare is socialism. By definition, it is socialism. It is the government taking care of you. Socialism is where the government has to take care of everything. You have to depend on the government to make sure that your ass stays alive. And that's the issue. We'd go month from month trying to make every bit fucking last. Alright? So, getting a taste of socialism as a fucking child has got me in a very staunch, decentralized government and no socialism whatsoever mindset. If you can't take care of yourself, then you should be the burden of your family members or somebody. But you should not be the burden of the government. And the government shouldn't have to be burdened with you. The government shouldn't have to fuck with you at all. The government should go fuck off and be by itself. Leave the people alone. But ultimately, this it branches into multiple different issues other than purely economic illiteracy. it branches into the issues of race, racial inequality. It just branches into many different things. But to to start and put it simply, socialism and communism just don't fucking work. It is not sustainable. It's just fucking not. All right. But then we go into the issues of race. All right. So it's just statistically proven, and somebody's going to call me racist, and I don't give a shit. But 13% of the population are black people, and they commit 50% of the crime. All right. Now you could say, oh, you're just a fucking racist. You could be a little fucking baby about it, but that's just the stats. All right. Now let's get into why this is the case. All right. So before welfare state happened, blacks actually stayed married more often than whites. There were more married black people than there were whites on average. All right, and then the welfare state happened. Now, why would the welfare state cause single mothers, bastard child, all that shit? Why would that happen? Why would the welfare state do that? Well, think of it like this way. So, a mother who typically has to have a husband to go to work and support her and her children, well, she doesn't need that husband anymore if the government can do it for her. If the government can support the mother, yeah, with houses, housing, food, clothing, all that. If the mother can get support from the government, why would the mother go out of her way to go marry a man when she can just get it from the government? All right. So that's why you got the degenerate culture that goes on nowadays, because it's not even just specifically the blacks, but it was very targeted towards black people before, the Marxist revolution we see now, and that's why the black families are what's the word? Proportionately more affected, I believe the word or the phrase would be. That's why blacks are profoundly more affected than whites, because it was specifically targeted towards their communities. Now, that's bad. That's genuinely bad. Now, you got a bunch of single mothers going around. You got a bunch of fatherless children. All right, and what happens? And it's statistically proven. What happens when you have a single mother? You get criminals. Profoundly, majority of all criminals, the majority of them all, come from single mothers or fatherless households. All right, and that's why the 13% of the population being black commits 50% of the crime, because the majority of them are coming from fucking single mothers, which are proven, absolutely proven, to create criminals. All right. Now, there are some people that want to say that black people are more aggressive and more prone to crime and all that purely because it's in their genetics, or that their IQs are lower, which means heightened aggression. And I don't really give a shit because I haven't found any actual evidence of that. But either way, we do have evidence that single mothers creates criminals, and we have clear evidence that the black community lives off of welfare the majority of the time, which creates single mothers, which in turn creates criminals. All right. So what we see is the destruction of the family. All right. We got the destruction of the family. Women have become degenerates. All right. Women can go out, get fucking dick down by 15 different men a day, suffer no fucking consequences from it, get pregnant, get any of them fucking fathers, or any of them fucking men, father or not, just sue them for fucking child support, and just fucking them all over, all right? And he's just fuck everything up. Just absolutely annihilate their fucking day, okay? And these women can do that without fucking consequence. Women can accuse men of rape without fucking consequence, and that in turn just makes men not want to associate with women. All right, and when you don't have men properly associating with women, you don't get marriages. What you get are fuck boys. All right, and these fuck boys will go out, fuck everything in sight, make a bunch of fucking fatherless children, and it's just one big fucking cycle of single motherhood. All right, so why would this happen? Why would this happen? Well, it's a very simple thing. You see, the United States was founded upon the ideals of decentralized government, as in limited government, whereas the people would remain relatively independent from the government, and they wouldn't have to rely on them, and they'd be able to pursue their happiness in the way that they want to. America, or not America, but the United States was founded upon the ideals of liberty. as in you will pursue your self-interest as long as you aren't harming others. All right. So the only way to really defeat liberty and the ideals of liberty is to destroy liberty on the inside. All right. So it's one big campaign against the American people, the United States people. It's been one big campaign of destroying the family, destroying cultural values, destroying tradition, just going out of your way to demoralize the population. And that's what it is. That's ultimately what MGTOW is as well. It's one big demoralization effort to fuck over the people, make them not want to fight, make them not realize what's happening, make them go into doomer mode, take the black pill or whatever the fuck you want to call it, and make them give up. And when you have a population that gives up, they aren't going to fight you. And that way you can become a tyrannical fucking dictator, alright? And that's what this ultimately is all about. Because socialism and communist governments, alright, they're centralized states. They're very, very centralized, and the power is obtained by a very select few. And that's ultimately what this is about. It's about big brother government trying to obtain more power. It's all been cultural engineering. That's what ultimately the whole accusing everybody of being racist is. That's what it all is. It's always been about socially and culturally engineering people. Because now white people are afraid to be called racist when in reality they fucking aren't. Black people can't even fucking live on their own without some fucking white liberal from college telling them how oppressed they are when in reality they're fucking fine off. They can go live off and do what they want. Live a dignified and satisfying life. Alright? It's all one big fucking engineering effort to demoralize the population, destroy the family, and ultimately obtain absolute power. And I can't remember who said the quote, but it's a very important quote. And it goes as such. Power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. So, with that said, it's a very emotional topic for me. But I hope it encourages you, if you are a liberal, if you do favor socialist policies, if you do favor communism, I hope it makes you rethink your decision. And if you were going to call me racist in the comments or some absurd thing like that, I'm just going to say that you are an uneducated swine and you should really, really reconsider your life decisions. But with that said, Sic semper tyrannis. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any hate, please tell me in the comments below. Have a nice day.